The vast hall was packed with laughter and music, and the wedding location was a hive of activity. I had been assisting my son, Ken, in choosing for months. I could still recall the late-night calls, the countless vendor lists we whittled down, and how I'd stayed up doing math to make sure the catering and half of the decorations were covered flawlessly. I stood off to the side in my tailored suit, the one I had saved for today. As I watched the crowd mingling under the gentle illumination of the chandeliers, nobody truly took notice of me, which wasn't unusual, but it hurt more than usual. Because my gaze wandered to the head table, where she sat, essentially my ex-wife. And that's where the true weight of the day struck me like a punch. With her hand firmly clutched in her new husband Gerald's, she was beaming with pride. And she looked like she belonged there. They had always been the ones navigating this ship alongside Ken and his bride. Miriam's sister had named cards for them. There was not a single monument with my name, not even for their unkempt little dog. I felt my chest tighten as I approached, the man who had given all to this moment without even being acknowledged. Ken noticed me walking toward his table. My shiny shoes clicked against the hardwood floor. Before I could speak, his face flickered, with something like remorse, or maybe just annoyance. He sat back in his chair, forced a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Come on," he said with a sharp yet low voice. "You always liked remaining in the background, Dad. You're just back where you belong." The words struck hard, each one a reminder of every concession I'd made. I could have protested, brought up the checks I'd written, the evenings I'd spent holding things together, all the times I stayed up late, running numbers, smoothing tempers. But why should I? The room was packed, and yet I had never felt more isolated. Fingers grazing the smooth wood of the little box I brought with me, I placed it inside my coat pocket. I didn't plan to do anything with it, but something inside me just exploded. Not loudly, not aggressively, quietly, finally. Without saying a word or creating a scene, I took the box out. I placed it gently on the table directly in front of him. Then I turned away. The chilly night air caressed my face as I moved toward the exit. I heard the gentle clink of wood against the tablecloth. I didn't turn around. The music faded behind me, but I could picture Ken's bewilderment. Maybe Miriam's brief glance. Maybe she whispered something about it being one of my usual stunts. It wasn't flashy. That little wooden box didn't look like much, but inside it was everything. Years of records, receipts, memories, proof of a life I had built for them. Not. For me, everyone was having a great time that evening. Flowers, food, the open bar. But I wasn't going to ask to sit at their table anymore. Not now. My car, a small sedan as unremarkable as me, was parked at the far end of the lot. Despite the ache in my chest, a pain that had been growing for years, I slid into the driver's seat, hands steady on the wheel. I hoped that one day my son might see me for who I truly am. But tonight, he made it clear that he didn't. And that little box? That wasn't a threat. It wasn't revenge. It was me saying, "I'm not invisible." The road was long and quiet. His words echoed over and over in my head, laced with that cold edge. In the stillness of night, you think too much. I had always been the one to back off, to let Miriam lead, trying to keep things smooth for the kids. Maybe I was wrong to think that silence could be strong. But tonight, I stopped hiding. I didn't know what Ken would do with the box. Maybe he'd toss it. Maybe Miriam would laugh it off, call it another gesture. But I had carried it long enough. When I pulled into my driveway, the house was dark, empty. Not that it mattered. I had done more than my share. The weight of the day fell off with the suit jacket as I entered. I didn't need a drink, just water. I sat at the kitchen table, the silence pressing in. Nobody was coming home. I thought about the years I had spent trying to be the decent person, the one who kept quiet. I fixed Ken's first car, paid for school trips, showed up to every game, and graduation, even when I wasn't wanted. And for what? I tapped the table restlessly, feeling like I belonged in the shadows. That box wasn't a bomb. It was the truth. Pure. Simple. Undeniable. I wasn't sure if he'd open it tonight, tomorrow. Ever. But I didn't need to wait anymore. I didn't stay to watch their reactions. But when I placed the box down, the room felt different. Something shifted. The music and laughter behind me grew faint as I passed through the glass doors. The night air wrapped around me, cool and comforting. Inside, that box was everything I had held on to. Years of silence, of sacrifice. Let them decide what to do with it. Back in the car, the leather creaked beneath me. The engine rumbled to life. In the rearview mirror, the venue lights dimmed. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it. Could have been Ken, or Miriam, or even Tessa, my daughter, unsure what had just happened. They might think I caused a scene. But I didn't. I left quietly. As always, no big speeches, no dramatics, just a box. And a man who refused to be erased. The phone buzzed again. I ignored it. I turned into a gas station halfway home. Neon lights flickered above an empty lot. When I finally checked the phone, there they were. Messages and missed calls. Ken's voicemail was first. "Dad, what was that?" Then Miriam. "What's in the box?" Tessa, just a question mark. As if she didn't even know where to start. I hovered my thumb over the reply button, but I didn't type a word. I had explained myself for years, justified every sacrifice. The box was the explanation. I tossed the phone on the passenger seat, let them figure it out. The drive stretched on, the darkness unfolding like a blanket. When I reached my home, the porch light was flickering, like even it was tired. I turned off the engine, sat there for a moment, let the quiet settle. The phone rang again. I didn't answer. Inside, I kicked off my shoes. The suit hung empty on the back of a chair. And the silence. It was louder than ever. That box was out there now. Let them wonder. Let them guess. I helped with the flowers, the catering, the plans, the lists. But I was always the ghost in the background. I poured another glass of water, walked past the fridge where a photo of Ken and Tessa from years ago still clung under a magnet. They were so small then, so easy to make laugh. I thought being a father meant giving without hesitation. Miriam rewrote our history, shaped it to fit her version, and I let her because I thought it was best for the kids. But tonight, Ken made a choice, and it wasn't me. That box wasn't revenge. It wasn't even about him. It was about me, finally saying I was here, I mattered, I had proof. Didn't wait for anyone to open it. I had carried it long enough. Let the silence be my final word.